A very warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We're here for the 8th round of the LMP2 League here on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. We're here at Circuit de Catalunya, the host of the Spanish Grand Prix, otherwise known as Barcelona, and I'm sure we're in for a bit of a treat tonight. We've got, I think, 12 drivers in the lobby at the moment. We've just got a couple jumping in now. We've got Swiss Tony and Colour 69 joining the session, so I think they should be in time to set a couple of qualifying laps here right at the end of this qualifying session. This 15-minute session, we're 10 minutes in. Currently Ben Parkey setting the pace on provisional pole position, but Champ, the championship leader, coming out of the final corner, leads the championship by 34 points to this man here, Richie, who's currently sat in P5 in this session up towards the line. What does Champ do on this latest lap of his? Stays in P2 for the time being. It looks like it might have been an outlap there actually for Champ, so he's not going to improve on that particular run. But this man here leads the championship by, as I said, 34 points coming into this round. He's former champion in an LMP1 league at another league called Rubbings Racing, and he's always a contender in his LMP2. He's a very quick guy, quick in the Formula 1 SSO, quick in basically everything that you put him in, but especially the faster, higher downforce cars. These are the ones where he really does excel. As we got 3 minutes left in this session, I think Cuzzer 69 should be able to join as long as he's loading up now. He should be able to get involved in the action and get himself out on the track. But current Champ's coming through the middle sector at the moment. He's just under a tenth off of his personal best coming through the first sector. Let's see what he can do here through this middle part of the lap. Can he find a little bit of time here and get himself up ahead of Ben Parkey, who, as we said before, Ben Parkey is a two-time Formula Renault champion here at Motive, and he hasn't been able to race too much this season. He's got a new job, hasn't been able to be on the track as much, but he's currently a little bit off of his personal best coming around that lap. I think that might have actually been an outlap there for Ben Parkey, so that wouldn't have been his true potential. We'll see what he can get up to here as we're into the final knockings of this. As we just had a bit of lag there, as we got Cuzzer 69 in the lobby. That's good to see. Cuzzer 69 has joined the session right at the end of the qualifying, so he will be able to start the race. So we'll have 12 drivers out on the grid, 13 on the list. One of them's me. I'm not racing, I'm commentating. Champ does improve his fastest time on that lap. Doesn't go up to P1 though. Stays in P2 for the time being, just over a tenth off of that pole time being set by Ben Parkey. Nicky sat in third at the moment in this session. Lovely time there from Nicky. Sat fourth in the championship behind his Team Prolapse teammate Xmart, who sits third in the standings. But Xmart looking like he's a little bit off of Nicky's pace tonight. Nicky looks pretty strong around Catalunya, to say the least. But Xmart is up on his personal best coming through the first sector. He's currently on a quick time here. He will get one more run in after this one as well. So Xmart's got time on his side here in this session. We see Richie go up into P4, pushes Xmart down a position, slots in between the two Team Prolapse cars of Nicky and Xmart. The other Team Prolapse car of Ben Parkey currently sat on provisional pole. We've also got the return of a Civic tonight, making this return to the channel. He's not been on Motive for quite a long time, but he's back here once again, which is good to see. Oh, as he loses it coming to turn one, posted into the wall there. That's going to be his session done and dusted. Commentator's curse there. Sorry, Civic. As we see Ben Parkey's just extended his gap at the top of the standings, not by very much, but he's just improved his lap by a fraction of a tenth there. A fraction of a tenth, not a fraction of a second, a fraction of a tenth of a second. So Ben Parkey making small improvements on that previous lap. We've got JM Gruhl sat in 7th at the moment in this session, coming in towards the final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do here as he nails that chicane very nicely. Oh no, he gets onto the curb and that's him into the wall, and JM Gruhl's lap is over. As we just see Simon Turner coming in towards the final sector. Stage GT's coming through the middle part of the lap at the moment. Swiss Tony's got a couple of corners left to go. Let's see what Swiss Tony can put on the board here. Oh, he gets a big twitch there coming in towards the final right-hander. Out into the start-finish straight he comes. What can Swiss Tony do here? Currently still yet to set a lap in this session. Is this a flying lap or is it an out lap? Let's see as he crosses over the line. It was a flyer, but he made a little mistake there, which just kept him a little bit off the pace. But he's got one more run in this session. We'll see what Swiss Tony can do here in the closing stages. What about Champ? What's he up to? He's currently coming through towards the end of the first sector here. Let's see what sort of time he's doing in the first sector. He's currently 2 tenths up on his personal best. So Champ matching Ben Parkey in the first sector here, looking to try and stake his claim for pole position in this session. It'll be yet another pole for this man who leads the championship by, as we said, 34 points coming into this one. We'll be looking to try and extend this gap to Richie. Richie doesn't seem like he's on the pace of Ben and Champ tonight, so this is a big opportunity for Ben for Champ to really extend that gap. But with Ben in the lobby tonight, it means that could be minimised But at the moment he's coming out down the back straight down towards turn 9. Let's see what Champ can do in the final sector of this lap here. He's now just over 2/10 up. If he stays exactly how he is right now, he will take pole position. As long as he matches his previous sector 3 time they did on the last lap, he will be your pole man here for round 8 of the LMP2s, the sprint race of the evening. This is the first race. We've got another race of the feature coming up after this. Champ here coming in towards the final couple of corners, this little left right and then the final right hander, which is flat out, not really a corner in the dry conditions. Out onto the start finish straight now. What can the championship leader do? Looking to try and put the pressure on Richie here. Flash the lights from Champ as he comes up towards the line, and he doesn't go pole. He missed out. I think he lost a bit of time coming through turn 9. The left-hander at the end of the back straight looked like he went a bit wide, had to overcorrect and scrub a bit of speed off, so ultimately loses out. So it's Ben on pole ahead of Champ on the front row, Nicky and X Martin on the second row behind them. Then we've got Richie and Civic in 5th and 6th, followed by JM Grove, CMC, Simon Turner and Stage GT rounding out the top 10. Then we're going to have Swiss Tone in 11th and Cuzza 69 in P12. But turn 9 especially though.
Yes. It was like 3/10 off the full time, and I was 3/10 off.
Do you know what? I didn't want to call it. When I saw you go wide into that corner, I didn't want to say, oh, he's gone wide, because then if you got pole, I'd look really silly. But I did say, I like subconsciously, I looked like you just went wide. I just kind of picked up on it as it happened. It definitely looked like you were scrubbing speed. You were just like hacking it into that left-hander. But Champ there on the team radio saying that he was wide at every corner in that final sector. He really messed up his opportunities to go pole position here. But he's starting alongside one of his old foes here, Ben Parkey on the front row. These two, some of you may know on the channel, do have a bit of history together. They had a collision in the Splash and Dash at the end of last season, the Splash and Dash event that we had at Daytona in the BMW M1 Pro Car. These two came together a couple of laps from the end. Without going into detail, most people do accept that Champ was probably at fault for that incident, but ultimately the footage only came to light after we actually announced him as the winner, so we couldn't do anything about it. But Ben Parkey has obviously had the better of Champ in most of the duels, in most of the battles they've had since then, so he's definitely made up for that since then. Champ did get the £100 cash prize as a result of winning that race, and to be fair, you know, it's racing, and ultimately we could have probably done a better job with enforcing those rules, but what's done is done. And you know, ultimately Champ and Ben have had some very clean battles since then out on track, so we'll be looking to see if they can continue on their fierce but mainly fair rivalry over the course of these last few seasons. The Formula Renaults, we've seen them go toe to toe quite a few times. Ben Parkey, the king of the Formula Renaults here at Motive, but LMP2s, he's pretty strong but hasn't won a championship. He's won a couple of races though in the LMP2s. As here we go, the lights are coming on now. We're about to go racing here for the sprint race at Catalunya, and it's lights out and away we go. And Ben gets a good start. Champ immediately tucks into the slipstream, got a little bit bogged down, but holds on from Richie. Richie up into 3rd place there, ahead of Xmart as we're coming up towards turn 1 now. Richie's trying to look on the outside of Champ, his championship rival here into turn 1. Can't get it done, tucks in behind Xmart, Nicky, JM Grill around the outside of Simon Turner there. You got Swiss Tony in 8th, and you got Civic losing out there to CMC. CMC getting the run out of turn 2 and getting ahead of Civic. Civic losing out to both CMC and Stage GT coming through turn 3 here, but Ben leads ahead of Champ, Richie, Xmart, Nicky the top 5. Then you got JM Gruel, there's Simon Turner, Swiss Tony, CMC a little bit wide. No, not sorry, Swiss Tony a little bit wide, and somebody's got a big bit of tyre smoke there. Nicky's down to the back. Oh, what a shame there. Nicky gets a little bit into the wall. Looks like he's got away without too much damage on the front of that car. It doesn't seem to be wobbling around, but I wonder what it's like inside the cockpit. But Nicky there down to P11 in the first lap of this race. The two leaders though, Ben and Champ, currently showing the way here. 7/10 of a second between these two on this opening lap. Richie there just under 2 seconds behind these guys in 3rd place. He's got about a second back to Xmart. JM Gruel there in 5th place has got Simon Turner looking to try and defend from CMC. CMC is hassling the back of Simon here, coming down towards turn 9. Here we go onto the brakes. Simon a little bit deep into the corner, gets away with it just about, but Swiss Tony in the background of this, just trying to get onto these if he can. Civic back up into 9th place after losing out to Stage GT on the first sector of this first lap, as we can now see CMC looking down the inside of Simon Turner. Does he get this one done? Oh, close racing here between these boys, as we see Simon a little bit wide coming through the third to last corner, and that is CMC up into P6. Thank you very much there, CMC. Oh, no, Swiss Tony's lost it coming out of the penultimate corner. Oh no, Swiss Tony gets it reset back onto the track and gets it pointing in the right direction once again. Not what he would have needed in any way, shape or form, as we see Ben and Champ separated by 7/10 into turn 1. Exmar is pretty close to the back of Richie at the moment. JM Gruhl running in 5th place. We've got CMC with Simon trying to come back at him into turn 1, but CMC covers that inside line for the time being. Civic in 9th place just behind Stage GT has lost out to him coming down the start finish straight. Nicky on the back of these guys now, closing into these drivers, battling it out over 8th place, and Swiss Tony off that little skirmish down in P11, but not too far off of these guys. Just up ahead we've got Ben Parkey still leading this race by 0.3 of a second ahead of Champ. These two absolutely tied at the hip at the moment, and Champ looking to the inside up towards turn 6 and 7. Champ has got a championship to think about here, so he doesn't want to be too rash. Ben's going to be out there with nothing to lose tonight, racing as a well, at the moment as a sporadic reserve, but hopefully we'll be able to see a bit more of him over the course of the final rounds of the season, and hopefully he'll be with us next season as well for these LMP2s. But down towards turn 9 they come, down towards the end of the back straight, onto the brakes they come, and Ben still clinging on to that P1 at the moment. Champ trying everything he can to throw it to him here. Richie there running in 3rd place. He's got a couple of seconds back to Exmart. It looks like Richie's gapped Exmart a little bit over the course of lap 2. You've got JM Gruhl dropping off the back of those ever so slightly. CMC, there's Simon Turner keeping tabs with CMC, but CMC looks like he's got the pace over him at the moment. Stage GT in 8th has got Civic absolutely all over him here. Nicky's queuing up behind these guys as well, trying to get on terms with these guys who are batting out over 8th place, and Swiss Tony's not too far for these guys. He's only about 3 seconds, hasn't lost any more time since that skirmish coming through the final corner on the previous lap, so Swiss Tony could easily bring himself into contention to this battle for 8th place here in this race. But we've got Ben leading the race ahead of Champ coming through turn 3. We've got Richie there in the background there, 3 seconds off, continuing to drop off of those guys as the race goes on. Exmart 2.5 behind Richie. You've got JM Gruhl there in 5th place, keeping the gap to CMC around the same, but CMC starting maybe to get a bit ahead of steam here. You've got Simon Turner, who was half a second slower than JM Gruhl and CMC on that previous lap, continuing to drop off to the back of him. There's Stage GT with Nicky still trying to find a way through, still hasn't been able to get himself up into P8 at the moment. Civic there on the back. Swiss Tony still running 3 seconds or so behind this battle for 8th place. Ben Parkey though holding on ahead of Champ. These two have had a bit of history over the last few seasons here at Motive. Not the most recent seasons, but certainly over the course of Motive Racing's history, they've definitely had their fair share of to-dos. Down towards turn 9, we're on board with Champ at the moment. He's 0.3 up on his lap time from the previous lap. These two lapping in the 1:33s. The only two drivers on the 1:33s on that second lap of the race. Champ was 0.4 quicker than Ben, but Ben looks like he's responded a little bit over the course of this lap and has started to get the pace down ever so slightly here. This one obviously a 10-lap race. It's a sprint race, no mandatory pit stop, just a straight out sprint to the line. These two are going to give it absolutely everything to leave absolutely nothing out there on the track. As we said before, they're big rivals, and it's going to be a lot of pride at stake between these two. Champ just about keeping in the slipstream coming down the start finish straight. Ben's got the measure of him for the time being. Ben there, first driver into the 1:32s in this race. Champ at 33.2, Richie at 33.7, and you've got Exmart in the background coming over the line at 35.3, so he's dropping off at the pace of Richie a little bit. JM Gruhl there at 36.2, continues to drop off the back of Exmart. CMC in the background there, lost a bit of time to JM Gruhl over that lap. A 1:38 from CMC, not the best of laps there from him. Simon Turner at 39.1, dropping off the back of CMC as well. Nicky there at 37.2, starting to roll these guys in. He's got ahead of Stage GT now as Nicky, and he's got better pace at this stage in the race than Simon Turner and CMC in front of him. So Nicky's starting to hunt these guys down. Maybe, who knows, could be in for a top 5 finish in this sprint race. He's about 8 seconds off of JM Gruhl, but he's lapping quicker than the two guys in front of him, CMC and Simon Turner. Stage GT in 9th place has got Swiss Tony. Oh no. As we see there, sorry, Civic even. Civic on Haas in the back of Swiss Tony, but Swiss Tony's got himself into the final top 10 spot there ahead of Civic. And we're just hearing team radio there that Ben Parkey's had a spin. And where is he? Is he in the wall? Oh no, where is he? The cameraman hasn't picked him up. Is Ben? I think he's parked up by the road. Champ leads the race here on lap 4 at Catalunya. Where is Ben? He still hasn't moved. He's still parked up by the track. There he is. Ben Parkey, parked up by the side of the road on the exit of turn 8. He's not going to be going anywhere fast in this race. We're down to 10 drivers here in this sprint race. Ben Parkey out of this one. He was having a good battle with Champ, was leading the first exchanges of the race. Champ has now got that ascendancy here. He's got that lead here for the sprint race here at Catalunya, and now can just try and control the race from out the front. Richie on that last lap was a little bit quicker than Champ. I don't know if Champ had to get out of it to avoid Ben, because Champ's last lap was a little bit off of what we've seen him do in the previous couple of laps, so maybe he had to just double take to avoid crashing into Ben as Ben lost the car. I didn't actually see any of it, so this is purely presumption at this point. But 3 seconds the gap between Champ and Richie, the two championship contenders running 1 and 2, but crucially for the championship leader, he would extend his gap as it stands here in this race. X-Mart running in third place on that final podium spot, best of the rest here, currently up on his personal best of 34.7 on the previous lap, almost matching the pace of the race leader on that last time around. You've got JM Gruhl in 4th place. He's dropping off the back of X-Mart as this race goes on. CMC 3 seconds behind JM Gruhl at the moment. Simon Turner dropping off the back of CMC ever so slightly over the course of this the second, third, fourth laps here. We've got Nicky there in 7th, closing in on Simon Turner as this race goes on, continuing to bring that gap down. He's quicker than CMC and Simon Turner at this stage in the race, so Nicky will definitely be hunting down a top 5 spot at this point in the race. We've lost 2 drivers from this race so far, Ben Parkey and Civic, both out of the race as we're only on lap 5 of this sprint race, so we're only halfway through and still a little way to go here. Hopefully those guys will be able to join us for the feature. Ben says in the comments, I'm still a little bit rusty. Well, we can forgive you for that, Ben. I think we'll let you off for that one. But you know, the feature race, I'm sure that it's going to be your baptism of fire and your return to form, so we'll look forward to seeing that. But at the moment, Champ setting fastest lap times here, low 1:32s in the race from Champ. That is no mean feat there. Excellent driving from Champ out the front. He is blazing a trail here. Richie on the previous lap was a 1.5 seconds slower than him, and that was Richie's personal best of the race. Likewise, X-Mart setting his green sector times, but still nowhere near the pace of the race leader Champ, who is flying at the moment. But these top 3 well ahead of the rest of them. JM Gruhl in 4th place did a 1:39 on the last lap, so he had a horror show. CMC a 1:35, gained 4 seconds on him. Simon Turner dropped off them a little bit. Nicky though, the fastest man aside from the top 3 out on the track at the moment, quicker than JM Gruhl, CMC, Simon Turner, Stage GT and Swiss Tony. Nicky is on a charge here after that first lap calamity where he dropped down to the back of the pack. He's brought himself back into contention for some very good points here in this race, that is for sure. 2 tenths down on his personal best coming to the first sector as he's trying to get this move done on Simon Turner. Simon keeping him behind him for the time being. JM Gruhl just got CMC absolutely all over him coming down towards turn 6. A little bit too far back as he's looking to try and get a run, trying to go for the cut back out of the corner, maybe try and get the better exit and out drag him down one of these straights. But at the moment, JM Gruhl's keeping CMC at bay by the skin of his teeth. Simon Turner in the background there, running in 6th place. Nicky all over the back of him there. These two running 6th and 7th as they're coming down the back straight down towards turn 9. CMC though still pretty close on the back of JM Gruhl. Onto the brakes they come. Still pretty close racing here. Simon Turner keeping ahead of Nicky for the time being, and Swiss Tony just ahead of Stage GT. Oh no, Swiss Tony's off onto the grass all over that curb there and keeps onto the position ahead of Stage GT for the time being. That would look like it was pretty close call there for Swiss Tony. Gets it back on the track though. JM Gruhl still running just ahead of TMC here as these two continue to battle it out. Simon Turner's still keeping Nicky at bay, but Nicky's got ahead of him there. Simon's made a mistake. Simon's reset the car coming into the final sector of the lap. Nicky there up into P6. Simon Turner loses out in that little battle. JM Gruhl still running in 4th place, but CMC really trying to force him into a mistake, but CMC actually lost a bit of time out of that last corner there. The gap now is 1.5 seconds between those two, so it looks as though JM Gruhl's got a bit of breathing space there, can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being. Champ last time around a 32.6. He was 1.4 seconds quicker than Richie. He was nearly 3 seconds quicker than X-Mart running in 3rd place, but X-Mart looking pretty safe and secure in that final podium spot for the time being. JM Gruhl still running just ahead of CMC at the moment. These two pretty much tied at the hip here, running in 4th and 5th places. You got Simon Turner now 4 seconds behind Nicky since Nicky made that move at the end of the previous lap. Simon Turner though doing his personal best in the 1st sector. Swiss Tony's still got Stage GT just behind him. These two battling out over 8th place here. Stage GT's got a run coming down towards turn 4. He's going to look to the outside. Swiss Tony has got that held onto for the time being. Swiss Tony though doing a good job there, keeping Stage at bay as Stage is trying to put that pressure on. These two still battling for some good points in this race. Let's not forget that with a depleted field tonight, they'll both score some very strong points. Oh no, Stage has lost it. Stage has spun it coming out of the exit of turn 5 there. What a shame there as No, sorry, Swiss Tony even has lost it. Sorry, I do apologise. I'm talking rubbish. That was Stage behind Swift. Swift loses it and Stage is up into 8th place. In the meantime, though, Champ leads by nearly 7 seconds at the moment over Richie, keeping that gap at around the same. X-Mart there running in P3, almost 12 seconds off of the leader Champ at this point. JM Gruhl still running in 4th place, has got CMC about a second and a half behind him there in 5th place. Nicky, though, closing on to this battle. I said it earlier on, Nicky could definitely be on for a P5 in this. He could be on for a P4 here. As we see, Simon Turner's lost it out of the last corner. Oh no, almost got damage on the front of that car. I think he just about kept it out of severe damage there and gets it going once again. JM Gruhl, CMC, Nicky all running pretty close here. 3 cars battling out over 4th place. CMC getting ever closer to the back of JM Gruhl here as they're coming down towards turn 4. But at the moment it's as you were between these 3 guys. Champ still leading this race. He's got almost 8 seconds now of a gap over Richie, so Champ in cruise control here in this one and will extend that championship gap as it stands, barring any major catastrophes in the final part of this race. As we see Nicky now really close to the back of JM Gruhl coming through turn 6 and 7. Can he get a run maybe out of turn 8, get that draft and then get that move done at the end of the back straight, as they're looking now very, very tight indeed. Nicky, if he can get a good drive out of this corner, might have a chance of sending one down the inside as they come towards the end of this straight. No, he's a little bit too far back. He's not going to be able to get that done from there. Would be an ambitious move, would be a bit of a risky one. He thinks better of that one and tucks it. Oh no, look, he's lost it. Oh, what a shame there. He spins the back tyres and that's all over the place there. He gets it recovered very quickly, but that's pretty much put an end on his chances of taking P4 or P5 in this race, unless JM Gruhl or CMC has a major mishap in the final couple of laps of this race. Nicky, what a shame there. He was hunting him down. He'll be back for the feature race though, you can be sure of that. Champ though still leads the race by just under 8 seconds at the moment. Champ looking like he's got another win in the bag here, unless he messes up majorly. He's pretty much led this race since the 3rd lap really, since Ben Parkey made that mistake coming through the corner that's coming up next, and ultimately Champ just took his opportunity, has completely bossed this one since then. Ben will hopefully be back for the feature race, able to challenge Champ once again. These two, as we say, have a good healthy rivalry. They're always pretty close on the track. I'm just noticing one thing here, and that is the fuel. Champ's got 4.7 in the tank. I'm just worried about you, that's all. But with Champ saying on the team radio there that he reckons he's got enough fuel in the car, so he should be okay to get it round to finish the race. But 4.5 in the tank. He says he's run the numbers. He said that he's calculated it to perfection. So the final lap will tell us the answer to that. These LMP2s really do guzzle up the gasoline pretty substantially. But at the moment, Champ looking like he's got this under control. 8 seconds is gap at the moment to Richie. JM Gruhl there running in 4th place, has got half second back to CMC. These two continuing to battle it out for 4th place there. 5 seconds clear of Nicky running in 6th. Simon Turner in P7 has got a penalty. He's got Stage GT 5 seconds behind him, running in P8 in this race. But final lap of this race, Champ very much has got this one under control. JM Gruhl and CMC are just about to start their final lap of the race now. They're looking pretty close. They've got a bit of a gap back to this man here, Nicky, who made that mistake a couple of laps ago, dropped him out of that battle for 4th place. Does his fastest lap of the race though, Nicky, a 34.3. Fastest man again outside of the top 3. Champ, Richie and X-Mart, the fastest drivers out on the track. Nicky next best there, who currently in P6 though, lost out on his chance of P4 in this race, down to a couple of mistakes. That first lap skirmish dropped him down to the back of the pack, and then made that other mistake a couple of laps ago as he was closing in on JM Gruhl and CMC. Champ though coming in towards the final sector of the lap. The championship leader came into this with a 34-point lead in the standings. It's going to take the win here, and I think it's going to be the fastest lap of the race as well for him. So he'll extend the gap by 6 points in the championship. The gap will be 40 points going into the feature race coming up pretty shortly. Great driving from Champ once again. He's played his fuel absolutely brilliantly. He's got more than enough, nearly 2 litres left in the tank. He could have taken a little bit more out of that if he wanted to. Flash the lights as he crosses the line. It's another victory for Champ in this LMP2 league here at Motive, and he's looking like he's going to be a big favourite now for the title, as he really does put breathing space between himself and Richie. Richie comes over to take 2nd place, minimising the points gained from Champ. X-Mart's coming over the line, and it's going to be a podium finish there for X-Mart here for Team Prolapse. Good to see. making up for the demise of Ben Parkey on lap 3 of the race. JM Gruhl coming out of the final couple of corners here, and it's going to be a 4th place finish here for JM Gruhl. He's just going to hold on here ahead of CMC as they're now on the run up towards the line. JM Gruhl takes P4, CMC P5. Flash the lights there from JM Gruhl. CMC crosses the line. Nicky comes over to take P6 here in this race. Not too bad of a result from Nicky in the end after a very, very difficult start to the race. Simon Turner coming out of the last corner, and it's going to be a P7 here for Simon Turner, one of our regulars in the touring cars, and races in these LMP2s actually pretty regularly, to be fair, as well. Over the line he comes to take 7th place here in this race, and Stage GT coming out in the last corner now will be the last driver to finish this race in 8th place. Well done to everybody who finished the race. Thanks to everybody who showed up here, and we've got a feature race coming up after this, guys, so do not go anywhere. Obviously, the vast majority of people watching this stream will be the drivers watching it back afterwards, so guys, hopefully you enjoyed watching this back, and yeah, roll on the feature race. Alright guys, so it'd be, what did it be, 15, yeah, 15 lap, no, 16. Mandatory pit stop thrown into it, same settings as before, just mandatory pit stop, and a bit longer. Oh, and 10-minute quali as well. Best of luck, boys. Back, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in the final couple of minutes of the second qualifying session of the evening for Motors LMP2s at Circuit de Catalunya, and we've currently got 10 drivers out on the track. We've got Champ sitting on provisional pole at the moment, got just under a couple of tenths back to Ben Parkey, sat in P2. Champ sat in the pits. He's certainly not going to get any better sat in there, but who knows what Ben will be able to do here right at the end of this session. Richie's got within a second of that fastest time. He's got a time just under the 1:32s here, so just sneaking into the 1:31 at the moment is Richie. That is where he would sort of where he'd like to be. I'm sure he'd rather be ahead of Champ though, in an ideal world with everything being equal. But X-Mart in the pits at the moment. We're just watching a couple of drivers coming up towards the line now. Simon Turner crosses over the line. What can he do? He doesn't improve. He will get one on the lap in though at the end of this session. What about Stage GT? He's coming up towards the line now. Ben Parkey didn't improve. Stage GT stays in P9 for the time being. Civic's coming out of the last corner. What can Civic put on the board here? Up towards the line he comes. Currently sat in 8th in the session, 4 seconds off of the pace, and he improves by half a second there up to P7, so gains a little bit of time. Gets within 3.5 seconds of Champ's provisional pole times. He comes into the pits, so that is his qualifying session done. Ben's still out there, can still get pole in this final run of the session. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him. Simon Turner is on a lap just in front of him, so Ben will be hoping and praying that Simon will make hay here. No, Simon moves well out of the way, lets Ben through, so no dramas there. Ben able to continue on his way and will be probably on quite a good lap at this point. Let's get the map up so we can see what sort of sector times he's doing in his final run of the session. Gets a little bit wide out of turn 8, but I think he just about kept it within track limits. Down the hill we come towards turn 9. He's 2 tenths down on his personal best, but if he finds 4 tenths of a second in this final sector, then it will all be forgotten about. Here he comes. Final few corners now for Ben Parkey. He needs to absolutely wrestle this car through the final part of this lap. He's all over that curb there, maximising his speed, getting as wide as he can without overstepping the track limits. Had a little bit of a hesitation there coming out of that corner. Gets all over the curb. Oh no, Ben! Oh, he's wide, he's wide, he's wide. And that's going to be that then for his session. Simon Turner down in P10, not where he wants to be, and he's coming into the pits, so that's his session done as well. So it's going to be Champ on pole ahead of Ben Parkey, Richie in 3rd place with X-Mart lining up alongside him on the 2nd row. Then we're going to have JM Graw and Nicky lining up on the 3rd row, followed by Civic and CMC in 7th and 8th. Stage GT and Simon Turner will round out the field for the feature race. Here we go then, guys. We're lining up on the grid, getting ready to go racing for the second race of the evening for the LMP2's feature race. Be a little bit longer, 15 or 16 lap race, shall I say, for this one. A mandatory pit stop thrown into the mix, so each driver will have to come into the pits at least once throughout the course of this race. Let's hope everybody can keep it clean coming into turn 1 and we can get a good clean start. And Nicky, I'm sure, will be one driver who'll be hoping to get through the first lap unscathed, as he could have been on the podium. I'm sure of that. He had the pace to get onto the podium in that first race, but unfortunately down to that first lap skirmish just found himself with a little bit too much work to do. Champ on pole position, will line up on the inside of the grid here. Ben Parkey on the outside, looking to try and get the jump. These two always go pretty well here in these LMP2s. Ben had pole in the first race and led the opening couple of laps until we made a mistake and gave Champ the lead. This time around, Champ's got the upper hand in qualifying, so he's not just got the sprint race win behind him, he's also got the pole position here for this second race, giving himself that little mental edge, that ascendancy coming into this race. You've got Richie just behind. Champ needs to continue to make gains, but Richie really needs to finish ahead of Champ here in this race, but otherwise Champ will continue to extend that gap in the point standings. Those two obviously the main championship contenders. Champ with a 40-point lead in the championship coming into this feature race. The lights on for Champ as it's lights out and away we go here for the feature race at Catalunya. Now what a start from Richie, absolutely shot off the blocks there as they come up towards turn 1. Oh, there's a bit of an incident in the back. Oh no, we see a team Prolapse car, X-Mart there getting a little bit loose, just about keeps it out of the wall. See CMC having a bit of a moment there, and Simon Turner also caught up in that. Richie leads coming through turns 1 and 2. Ben Parkey up into second place and Champ down to third. So that's the best possible start that Richie could have ever dreamed of there, up into turn 1 and 2 and 3. But currently Richie, Ben and Champ 1, 2 and 3 at the moment in this race. Civic there with Nicky just behind. JM Gruhl got a little bit caught up in that incident. X-Mart's already back up into 7th place. Stage GT looking like he's getting squeezed out there as CMC trying to get past these guys in front of him, but Simon Turner was all over the grass there coming up towards turn 5. Chaos here on this opening laps. X-Mart's already gapping that pack of cars behind him. Simon Turner's wide. Oh, he's all over the grass there. JM Grill up into 7th place. CMC follows him through. Simon down to the back of the pack as Stage GT up into P9 in this race. Richie, Ben Parkey, Champ, Civic and Nicky the top 5. At the moment the top 3 appear to be breaking away a little bit from the next 2. Civic and Nicky of Team Prolapse currently scrapping it out for 4th place. But Richie needed that at the start. He absolutely had to get the jump. He knows he needs to finish ahead of Champ here in this feature race if he is to stand any chance of keeping the of taking that gap down and getting it to under 1 race win, as we'll have 6 races left in the season after this. 3 rounds, 6 races, 2 races per round. Richie currently doing the job here at Catalunya in the second race of the evening. 7 tenths is gap to Ben Parkey as they're coming over out of the last corner up towards the start finish line to complete the first lap here. Great racing from Richie as we've got Civic still keeping Nicky at bay at the moment in 4th and 5th places. X-Mart there in 6th is coming into the pits at the end of the first lap, so coming in and getting his mandatory pit stop done nice and early. CMC following suit, doing exactly the same. So is JM Gruhl, so is Simon Turner. Stage GT doing exactly the same. The bottom 5 in this race all making their mandatory pit stop straight off the bat, so very early on here, and obviously it's easy to keep track now of who's been in the pits and who hasn't. Top 5 haven't, bottom 5 have, but Richie, Ben, Champ, Civic and Nicky currently the top 5 here in this race. Richie is managed to gap Ben and Champ a little bit over the course of this first lap, so a really stonking first lap here from Richie, setting the pace, getting it down nice and early here in this feature race. We'll be looking to try and keep this up over the course of the next next 14 laps or so, I would imagine. Heard a sigh over the mic there. I don't know who that was, but definitely we've seen quite some dramas here at the start of this race. Lots of drivers involved in some skirmishes, but importantly though, they've all been able to come into the pits at the end of the first lap, so damage limitation for these 5 guys at the moment. CMC the first out, X-Mart will be the next out. Stage GT just coming out of his box now. Oh my goodness me. Simon Turner and JM Gruhl still sat in the boxes getting some damage repaired here, so not the races that either of those guys would have wanted, but there's still good points on offer in this one. They can still get top 10, maybe even top 5 finishes in the championship just by finishing tonight with the depleted field, and with the fact that a couple of guys in this session tonight are reserves. They are still in good positions here, but Champ coming into the pits at the end of lap 2, going to try and get the undercut on Richie and Ben, I would imagine. Richie leads the race, napping in the 133s at the moment as we're seeing an excessive flash of lights there from Richie to Simon parking it on the inside and getting well out of the way. Richie and Ben putting a lap on them comfortably there as they came through turns 1, 2 and 3, but Richie here still leading this race. Ben Parkey keeping tabs with him, not allowing to run away with this one at the moment. We see Champ there coming out towards the end of the pit lane. Let's see what his gap is to Richie and Ben when he comes out. He wanted to keep it under 30 seconds, I would imagine. Quite a long pit stop there for Champ, to be fair. The gap's a bit bigger than I'm sure he'd want it to be.
1.6, not too long. Canyon, cheap pit stop, 2 laps notice.
Ah, right, yep. So Champ obviously in for an early pit stop couldn't get the engine damage up to 1 or 2% in time. Oh no, it's Ben lost it again. Ben has lost it again. He's down to 3rd place. Not as bad as in the first race, but certainly not what he would have needed there. Civic up into 2nd place in this race. Ben Parkey having a little bit of a moment there, coming up towards turn 6 out of turn 5. I think he must have gone wide out of that corner, and now Richie has got a comfortable lead here in this race. But crucially for Champ though, he will most likely be able to jump Ben once Ben comes into the pits and makes his stop, seeing as Ben had a big moment there coming through that corner. But Richie out in front and looking good to try and close that gap to Champ in the standings here in this feature race, and settle the score from earlier on when Champ took the win in the sprint. But Richie coming out of the last corner to complete the 3rd lap of the race, looking very strong here in the early stages of this feature race. Still yet to make his mandatory pit stop, as is Ben Parkey, as is Civic, as is Nicky. Everybody else has been into the pits already and made their pit stop. Champ the furthest up of those who have been into the pits. CMC running 3 seconds ahead of X-Mart. These two running in 6th and 7th places at the moment. You got Stage GT in 8th, JM Gruhl 9th, and Simon Turner running in P10, not where he needs or wants or would desire to be here in this race. But currently Richie got a 5-second lead over Ben Parkey at the moment. Civic there running just behind him. Battle for second between these two since... Oh no, Civic's wide! And that's going to allow Nicky around the outside here of turn 3. Swoops around him up into the final podium spot. Nicky having a much better race here in this feature race than he did in the sprint. Richie though with some daylight out the front, got some breathing space. Low 134s, high 133s over the first couple of the laps. What's Champ able to do now that he's in some clean air now he's made his pit stop? Champ was in the 132s in the sprint race when he was in clear air out front, so who knows what he'll be able to put in here in this feature. But the fuel tank's a little bit heavier than what we saw in the sprint race, so I'd imagine the lap times in the early stages probably around half a second off of what we see, but we're already 4 laps in now, so that fuel tank is dissipated as we speak. And we're seeing the times coming in thick and fast once we get to around the halfway stage here in this race. But Champ's gap to Richie, 34 seconds. Richie has got more than enough of a gap to come out ahead of him once he comes into the pits, but Champ's on a charge. I'm sure that Champ's next target, his short-term target here in this race, will be to get the jump on Ben Parkey, who we saw making that little mistake coming out of that corner that you just saw Champ coming out of. Ben Parkey made a mistake on the previous lap coming through that part of the track, which dropped him a bit off of the leader Richie here in this race. Ben's got a bit of a gap back to Civic due to Civic's mistake, and Civic's got back ahead of Nicky here up into third, so Nicky must have made a mistake coming through the middle sector maybe, because he's now down to P4. Didn't see what happened there to Nicky, but he's had a bit of a moment, and Civic up onto the podium spots here in this race. Champ's got a gap to 33 seconds to Richie. Richie lapping in the low 134s at a minute consistently. Ben lapping in the high 133s a little bit quicker than Richie, but at the moment Richie's got that buffer, he's got that track position, as we see Simon Turner very sportsmanlike, moving well out of the way for Ben Parkey, and Ben Parkey able to continue on his way. Simon obviously not like him to see him a lap down in any race, but especially this LMP2, he's a very quick driver that had that was involved in that major confrontation at the beginning of the race. We saw 5 drivers come into the pits at the end of the first lap. It was absolute carnage, and he's obviously down at the back as a result of that, but he's I mean, he's only about 14 seconds off of Stage GT and JM Gruhl, so if he really gets the pace down, if those two make a mistake, he could be on for P8 here in this race. Definitely some points up for grabs here in this feature race. Ben Parkey's keeping the gap at around 5 seconds. Richie still your man with the lead, with the ascendancy here in this feature race here at Catalunya for round 8 feature race of Motive Racing's LMP2s here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 and Project Cars 2. Civic just about keeping it within 10 seconds of Richie at the moment, sat in a very strong podium position, but that will not be a podium once once he comes in, because Champ has already been into the pits, as we said. Richie in the pits now, race leader is in at the end of lap 5. That will give the lead provisionally to Ben Parkey, but Ben Parkey obviously needs to come in at some point between now and the end of the race. He can come in any time now between now and lap 15. He can long it out, he can stay out for as long as he wants, as long as he comes in at least once before the end of the race. As we all know, there is a mandatory pit stop here. Everybody's got to come in and serve a pit stop at least once, otherwise there will be major repercussions. There will be penalties, there will be blood, sweat and tears, there will be anger, there will be the wrath of the stewards getting absolutely laid out to these. Okay, anyway, Ben Parkey still leads by 6 seconds at the moment over Civic, and obviously having inherited the lead there due to Richie and Champ having both been into the pits to make their mandatory pit stops. What's the gap between Richie and Champ? It's about 2 seconds at the moment, so it looks as though Richie's, I mean, it's not as much of a gap as I would have thought it would be, to be honest with you, when you think about it. I mean, it was a little bit more than that before Champ and Richie came into the pits. So yeah, I mean, Champ's definitely, you know, chipped away at that gap during their pit window. So that's not as much as Richie would, I'm sure, want it to be at this point. But Richie, a very good defensive driver. We know that he's quite tactically astute, and Champ's pace probably, I would say, around half a second to a second quicker in terms of like raw pace. But that's not really that's not necessarily enough to get you past somebody, especially when you've got the turbulent air, especially when you're sat right behind them, and especially in these LMP2 cars where they're very high downforce, so you lose a lot of downforce by being behind somebody else. So with all those factors taken into account, and the fact that Richie's a pretty good defensive driver, he's more than capable of keeping Champ behind him as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. And with that being said, he's currently matching him for pace as well. So Richie in a good position here. Fastest man out on track though is this man here, Ben Parkey, who's in the low 133s, a 33.0 last time around from Ben Parkey. He's absolutely blazing a trail. He said after his little mistake in the first race where he crashed out of the lead, he said that he's still just getting up to speed a little bit. He's obviously missed almost a full season here. He's been working. He's got a new job, so he's working early shift, 4 o'clock in the morning. He has to be up, similar to me actually. I have to be up at 5:30 most well, some mornings. So it's, I mean, I know you're paying there, not quite as bad as 4 o'clock though, I gotta say. But I think he's figured out a sleeping pattern now. He said he can jump back in as long as it's done sort of by 10:15. He said he's cool with that. Good 5 hours kit before getting up for work in the morning. Always doable. But Ben Parkey at the moment driving very, very nicely indeed. One thing that I think, I'm not going to say it actually on stream, no, you know what, no. But 6.5 seconds is currently the gap between Ben Parkey and Civic at the moment, and he's continuing to pull out that gap as we speak. 6 people watching on the stream right now. Guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please drop a like on the video, show your appreciation for the drivers we're currently watching. A pretty exciting battle here for the lead. Ben Parkey's got the lead at the moment. Richie and Champ have both been into the pits. These two are currently battling out over the net lead, but Ben Parkey could very much get himself into the mix here. He's got 27 seconds to these two. A pit stop's around 30 seconds, so Ben, fastest man out on track at the moment, and he'll only come out about 3-4 seconds behind these two once he comes in, most likely. So this could be a pretty exciting one for the race win here in this feature race. Lap 8, we're half distance here for the feature race, and as I said before, Ben and Civic still need to come in and make their pit stops. Everybody else in this race has already been in, so they don't need to come in and make a pit stop. They've already got their pit stops done and out of the way. They've got a clean state. They don't have to worry about any penalties coming their way or any little backhanded little snidey little penalties coming their way. They just have to focus on cracking on and doing the best job that they can. But currently these two putting on a good show here for the net lead of the race, 28 seconds behind the race leader Ben Parkey. As we see there, Champ getting a little bit onto the curb there, coming in towards turn 5. Keeping it, his trajectory pretty true now at the moment. Ben's out in front. Oh, Ben is being held up there by one of the back markers. Simon Turner seems to just labour around a bit as he was moving aside. Flashed the lights there from Simon, apologising there to Ben Parkey. Ben accepting his apology, saying, "Don't worry, mate, it's all right, no harm done." And all in all, only lost about a second there, so it could have been a lot worse there for Ben Parkey. Richie continuing to battle it out with Champ, still keeping Champ at bay here as they're coming out of the final corner out onto the start finish straight. Champ's got a run here coming out onto the pit straight though. What sort of pace has he got in a straight line? That's the question. He sits in that slipstream now, poised to make a move here. Richie is not defending the inside, so Champ's going to look towards the inside, coming up towards turn 1. We're side by side into the braking zone now. What is going to happen? Richie goes a little bit late on the brakes, trying to hold it around the outside, but Champ's got the inside for turn 1 and swoops round into 3rd place. What could be the net lead of the race? That could be crucial for the race win here in this feature race. Champ down the inside, up into 3rd place, and depending what Ben Parkey does in the pit stops there, that could be those two could look back on that move there for 3rd place, what is the net lead of this race, as a move that could have won the championship. That is going to swing the pendulum ever more in the favour of Champ. His gap in the championship, if he can get the fastest lap in this race, would be 46 points in the championship going into the final 6 races. But if he doesn't get the fastest lap, it'd be 45 points. If Richie can get back ahead of him, it'd be only 35 points. So it just goes to show how far it can swing. You know, one driver in front of the other, how much it can swing. Yeah, it's basically a 10-pointer in terms of how it could go from one side to the other. But these two currently having a good little scrap here, and Champ's started to pull out a little bit too Richie over the course of this absence, getting that move up into P3. These two obviously the net leaders of the race, with Ben and Civic still needing to come in at some point between now and the end of the race. Ben on lap 10 has got 6 laps left to go here in this feature race. He's got some traffic in front of him. He'll be hoping that the traffic doesn't impede him too much. JM Gruhl there in the foreground, just coming through your shot into turn 4. Ben Parkey there following through there in P1 in this race. He's got 10 seconds to his Team Prolapse teammate Civic. Both of these two need to come in. Civic will probably end up maybe in a battle with I think he should be quite clear of Nicky actually. Nicky I think on course for a P5 in this race, but Civic should be alright to take P4 as it stands once he comes in and makes his pit stop. But Civic, also a big shout out. I mean, Ben, we expected nothing less from Ben. He's always quick and so consistent, and the first race didn't go to plan at all for him, but he's made up for it so far in this feature race. I expected no less. I was expecting Ben to jump in and be immediately quick again. Civic used to race with us in the Formula Renaults regularly throughout the seasons here at Motive, and he's joined us once again here for these LMP2s in the later stage of the season. It's great to have him back out on the track, and he's really done a good job here on his race return here at Motive here at Catalunya. He's currently keeping the gap to around 10 seconds here to Ben Parkey at this stage in the race. So a solid drive here from Civic. Ben coming over the line, about to start lap 11 of the race, 6 to go here. Champ has already gapped Richie by 2.5 seconds, looking like he's very much got the ascendancy over Richie, and Champ's trying to cover Ben off here because he knows that Ben is setting some blistering lap times out front, so he needs to keep that pace down if he is to prevent Ben from getting that overcut and getting the jump once we get towards the closing laps of this race. Civic's into the pits, getting that pit stop done and out of the way. What's Ben's engine damage on? Is he going to get the cheap pit stop when he eventually comes in? Is he trying to wait for that engine damage to build up, or has he already gone past it? Has that ship sailed, and is his opportunity to cash out on that 1 or 2% engine damage effectively just passed him by? Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see as we're approaching the closing stages of this feature race, and it's currently Champ on course to extend his championship gap to Richie in the point standings once again, as he did earlier on in the sprint race with taking the win ahead of Richie in second. These two currently in a net 1 and 2, but that could be a net 1 and 3 because Ben Parkey could be about to split these two, or maybe even get ahead of both of them in the pit stops. Who knows at this point? Who can tell what's going to happen? We're just going to have to wait and see how it develops. But Champ lapping in the 132s on the last lap. Now he's in clean air and is able to really push to his heart's content. Ben coming in towards the final few corners. Keep an eye on him, see what sort of lap time he does here on lap 11. Does he come into the pits? Does he pull the plug, or is he going to long it out and keep going and keep just stamping home this advantage that he's got? Obviously he's got the he's kind of got the upper hand really, because he can put Champ under pressure, knowing that he's got the gap and knowing that Champ he's got that sort of that mental edge of being in first place. And look at that, Ben Parkey, a 1 minute 32.5. that is the fastest lap of the race so far. Absolutely throwing it down to Champ here with 5 laps left to go here in this race. Ben Parkey letting Champ know, sending out a statement saying, look mate, I ain't done yet, I'm coming for you, you better watch out because I could be getting the jump on you at the end of this race. Champ out of the last corner all over that curve as he gets that out onto the start finish straight. The gap 26 seconds here between these two.
There's still like a 7 or 8 second down before he'll come out in front of me, so
depends if he gets the cheap pit stop, you know. But at the moment Champ half a second down on Ben Parkey on that previous lap, so Ben's closing that gap effectively to Champ here in this race. This could be one that's going to go down to the wire between these two old rivals, the ones who fought it out for the Splash and Dash last year here at Motive back on it was 19th of December last year. Obviously we saw these two have a collision with a couple of laps left to go in the Splash and Dash, and once again we're seeing this rivalry rekindle. This is going to be close between these two. Champ half a second slower than Ben. Ben is really getting the laps down here in the closing stages of this race. 4 and a bit laps left to go here at Catalunya, as we can see JM Gould has got ahead of Simon Turner up into 8th place, and Simon is falling back into the clutches of the stage a little bit here in the battle for 9th place. I don't know if he reset his car coming down the back straight because he just lost the position and then suddenly he was miles behind him, so that to me definitely seems like a reset. But Ben up towards the line. Let's see what he does this time around. 32.4 from Ben Parkey. Incredible stuff here from Ben. He is setting fastest lap after fastest lap at the moment. What has Champ got to respond here? Gap was 26.4 the last time that Champ crossed the line. Let's see what it is as he's coming out of the last corner out onto the start finish straight now. It looks like Champ might have gained a 10th or 2 on this lap. Let's see as he comes up towards the line now. What is this lap time for Champ? A 32.5. So no, Ben did take another 10th, but really it's fine margins at this point. If Ben can get the cheap pit stop, he might come out pretty close to Champ. Who knows what's going to happen? He needs to get a good pit entry, but he needs to be careful on that pit limiter, that is for sure. Champ's got 6 seconds now back to Richie. Richie's falling off at a pace a little bit there in 3rd place, looking like he's going to be definitely completing the podium, but for sure is dropping out of that battle for the lead as we speak. He's got a big gap back to Civic though, so Richie more than comfortable in that 3rd position. Ben still leads out the front, lap 13. We're about coming in towards the closing stage. Just over 3 laps left to go here at Catalunya for the LMP2s here at Motive. Round 8 of the season. Feature race here, final race of the evening. Gap currently just over 25 seconds. It's kind of staying at around the same, to be honest. They're pretty much matching each other's every lap time right now. Ben staying out, keeping Champ guessing, keeping that pressure on Champ, just keeping Champ in the dark. The not knowing is going to be the most painful thing for Champ at the moment, just not knowing where he stands or what his situation is, and it's going to be absolute torture for him just watching Ben, watching that gap seesaw and not knowing whether or not he's safe or not here in this race. Coming in towards the final sector of the lap here. Champ's got a couple of corners, this left and a right, and then the final right-hander out onto the start-finish straight. Ben Parkey has got the gap, but last time around Champ did a 32.5. This time around Ben did a 32.8, so let's see what Champ does this time. Looks like they're pretty close again. Champ was 2/10 quicker on that lap, so Champ took a bit back on Ben, but it's really making no difference at the moment because Ben was a couple of tenths quicker on the previous lap, Champ a couple of tenths quicker on this one, so really it's just yo-yoing between these two. It's going to be so close. I tell you that now. It's about a 33-second pit stop for an average pit stop, but if you get the cheap pit stop, I know it could be about a 26-27 second stop. So Ben Parkey not out of the contention for this win. We said it before, I'll say it again, I'll keep reiterating it to anybody who's just joining us or to drivers watching this back. Hopefully you two enjoy watching this back afterwards, but at the moment Ben got the ascendancy, he's got that mental edge, as I say, having the lead, keeping Champ guessing, and Champ doesn't know whether he's safe or not. That's the thing. So you know, they can take comfort in knowing that he's sat there probably stressing out and getting himself, working himself up a little bit and getting himself into a state, not knowing whether or not he's safe in this race lead or not. And that will obviously come as a great satisfaction here for Ben as he's trying to eke out that gap and trying to get the jump here on the man currently sat in P2, this championship leader here. We're looking to try and maximise his points gain on his championship rival Richie, who's back in 3rd place. It's going to be one of these two, Ben or Champ, for the win tonight. Richie looks nailed on for 3rd, but hasn't had the pace of these two over the course of this feature race. Ben's got a lap and a half left to go. He's got to come in at the end of this lap, so it's now or never for Ben Parkey. He's just got to absolutely push hell for leather on this lap and hope that he does enough to get the jump on Champ. Richie lapping in the 134s, Civic in the 134s as well. Nicky last time around 135s. X-Mart had a shocker last time round, 141 last time from him. CMC 135s, Simon Turner just about in the 135s. But X-Mart, CMC, Simon, Stage have all had absolute nightmare races. Dropped back very early on. Nicky's not had the best of second parts to this race either, to be fair. Ben coming in towards the final sector of the penultimate lap of this race. Here's the moment of truth now. Here's where we find out who's going to be the race winner here for round 8 feature race of the LMP2s at Motive here at Catalunya on the PlayStation 4 and 5 on Project Cars 2, as Ben dives into the pits, going as late on the brakes as he possibly can, and he doesn't get a pit stop penalty, which is obviously good for him. As Ben's on the limiter, it's a long pit lane here at Catalunya. Champ coming in towards the final few corners. This final sector really can drag on quite a bit. Where is Ben? He's into the box now. What sort of pit stop does he get? Looks like they held him for a bit there, and that's a very bog standard stop there from Ben. About a 4-5 second pit stop there. Champ's already coming out of the last corner now, out onto the start finish straight, and I think Champ's going to get this done, you know, quite comfortably even. Champ is coming down over the line. Ben Parkey just coming out of the pit lane there on the left hand side. Yep, Champ has done the job. He's absolutely smashed it over the course of these last, well, pretty much since he pitted very early on in this race. He's kept that gap. Ben did everything he could to try and bring that gap down, but Champ had the answer to him at every possible stage, and Champ is going to bring home this feature race as it stands unless he has a major mishap on this last lap. He's just coming up on some traffic. That's Simon there in the foreground. Simon could finish this race on the lead lap, which would be no mean feat considering the turbulent race that he's had. He was almost a lap down in the early stages after his pit stop, so fair play to Simon. No, he's gone wide, so no, he will finish a lap down. But Champ's got a 9-second gap at the moment to Ben. Ben's only just come out ahead of Richie there, so Ben did have quite a tardy pit stop actually, to be fair. Richie could be in contention to try and take this P2 off of Ben on the final lap and minimise the points gained by Champ. The championship leader will extend this gap. As it stands in this one, we'll get a 9-point swing on Richie, or it could be 8 because Ben might have the fastest lap. I'm not sure. The gap's either going to be 48 or 49 points going into the final 6 races of the season. So Champ really putting himself in the box seat here in towards the final couple of corners. Champ, a former LMP1 champion, always good in the LMP2s as well. The splash and dash winner from last year here at Motive Racing comes out of the final corner, and it's going to be a second victory of the night here in a feature race at Catalunya. It's another 100% right for Champ in terms of race wins as he weaves and flashes his lights over the line. Well done to Champ. Another victory here at Motive Racing in the LMP2s. Managed to play it out brilliantly there, was matching Ben's every lap time, and Ben bins it over the line, takes the second place here in this one. Richie with a penalty crosses over the line to complete the podium. These three in a class of their own, but Champ absolutely on fire tonight here at Catalunya. Civic coming out of the last corner. It's going to be a 4th place finish here for Civic. Some good points here in his, well, he's only just joined the championship in this race, but flash the lights nonetheless there from Civic. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, mate. Good to see you back in the Motive Racing leagues, as we got Nicky coming out of the, well, coming in towards the final couple of corners here. Nicky will get some good points here, but not the race that he was hoping for. I'm absolutely certain of that. He could have had the pace. He really had some strong pace here at Catalunya tonight, but it has not fallen for him. Has not really had the luck over the course of tonight, but crosses over the line. A flash of lights nonetheless, in good spirits there. Nicky finishes the race in P5 stage. Has finished the race already in 8th place. So Nicky 5th, Xmart 6th in the end, CMC 7th, Simon in 8th, and Stage GT finishes in 9th place. Andy CWFC at the bottom of your screen there wasn't actually racing, he was just commentating. He's actually a pretty bad driver, to be fair. But Champ taking the win ahead of Ben Pocky, Richie completing the podium. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks. Hopefully you guys watching this back, the drivers in either of these races watching this back, enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, share it with your friends and family, show them what you're getting up to on a Saturday night, and we will see you on the next one. Have a great evening. See you later.